Scotch pie or canoe. Scotch pie or canoe. There's nothing that I wouldn't do to get some time alone with you. Some beans and sauce there on the side. All the things I ate tonight. Mix them in my belly right till I'm gasping for a shine.
Craig, that's your pie and beans ready.
Christmas time, mistletoe and wine, children singing non-denominational rhyme, because that's how we do it in 2022. In fact, they're probably singing like Cliff, stop, please stop. Thank you for tuning in. Welcome to this Christmas special of the Pie and Beans Show. I am joined by the baddest boy ever to come out of Old Bon Hill. He's a Slongmeister General. It's Craig Biddulph. Thank you for coming along, Craig. How are we?
Oh, no bad, mate. Aye.
Good stuff. And this week we are joined by a man who is the creative director, I've been informed, behind the Comedy Cabaret at the Cranside Kitchen, with venues in a venue in Glasgow, Leeds, Cardiff, and also over the other side of the world. Please welcome to the Pie and Beans Show. It's Mr. Alan Anderson.
Hello.
How'd you do, sir?
Bristol, you forgot Bristol.
Bristol, sorry, I do apologise.
Perth, Australia.
Perth, Australia. Adelaide, Melbourne. Aye. The other side of the world, that could have been, what, Fiji?
Aye.
Fucking love to go to Fiji.
Yeah.
Aye. Hong Kong. Love to go to Hong Kong.
Have they got comedy clubs in Fiji?
I don't know. Shall we find out?
Do you know, I think that's maybe your next venture.
Aye.
2023.
Aye. It'll be better. Whatever's there will be better than the Junkyard in Hamilton. I'll tell you that for starters.
Oh, you can't say that. I do enjoy the Junkyard in Hamilton. I do enjoy.
Shots fired early.
Yes. It was one of the first headline gigs I've ever done. So, cheers to the Junkyard and Stephen. Thank you. We'll just get fired right in. We start off with Dear Biddy. So the first one we got right was Dear Biddy. What's your favourite? It just says favourite song, right? But because this is a Christmas special, I want to know what your favourite Christmas song is.
I think all Christmas songs are shite. Wham, maybe Wham, Last Christmas. Shout out to the Wham. We'll go by that.
Okay, Alan, do you have a favourite Christmas song?
Ba-da-da-da. Ba-da-da-da. Ba-da-da. Caravan of Love, for God's sake. Definitely.
Personally, it doesn't come up in my Christmas crackers
every
playlist.
man, join a caravan.
Join
love. Stand up, stand up, stand up. The House Martins featuring Norman Cook, aka Fatboy Slim, done a cappella style.
There you go. Paul, do you have a favourite Christmas song?
I didn't know Caravan of Love was a Christmas song.
Aye, it was Christmas number one.
Was it? I like Paul McCartney's Simply Having a Wonderful Christmas Time.
Is that yours?
I thought you were going to say Frog Chorus
Oh,
there.
that's not bad, actually. Maybe there's some alright Christmas songs.
Do you know, see, for me, it's Band-Aid. You can't, I can't see past it. I think it is the elite Christmas song. It just, like, when that comes on, it's just, oh, it's Christmas. Do you get what I mean? Kind of gets you in a good mood right up for the holiday
there
season.
won't be snow in Africa this Christmas time, except actually, technically, more snow falls on the Atlas Mountains than it does in the European Alps. So, geographically wrong there, mid-June.
Well, do you know what? They raised the money for that. Fucking, I take my hat after them. I'll be honest, right? I'm going to apologise to some of the listeners because there's some questions in here I'm not going to get onto today. But if we do another wee solo ep, I will get them. I will get them out. Somebody asked how tall you are.
6'2".
You 6'2"?
Aye, 6'2".
What's the body mass of somebody 6'2" meant to
Oh,
be?
I currently weigh about 124 kilograms, which
Jesus.
it's come down to 140. I was 140 kgs a few months ago, but I'm 124 now. Slowly going down. I kind of want to get to around about the 100 mark.
Is that going to be the New Year's resolution? To be fair, you do go to the gym, don't you? You go to it more than I do. I don't even have a membership anymore. I was just donating £30
Go to the
a
gym
month.
at Cameron House. It's not bad. We steam room, sauna after it, maybe a hot tub.
I do like that though. I think that it kind of when I do go, it kind of reminds me like, oh, this is why I want to have things in life, because this is really nice. Because the closest I get to a warm water's like the kettle. Do you know what I mean?
Can I just ask how well this podcast is doing if you can afford to be a gym member at Cameron House, for God's sake?
I did the Cameron House and the golf, so I get a sort of deal. It's not that bad.
That's
I did
alright.
the golf at the Carrick and then the Cameron House.
Aye.
He's one of the most. He probably can't afford it, right? He's just one of the most vain guys going. That's why he's got the 3 Series outside.
No, so
Can't afford it, can't even drive it, doesn't it? What
No,
indicators or the wipers.
The podcast is doing. It doesn't make us any money at all. It's my actual job that makes me money.
Right.
But if you want the podcast to make money, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and tell everybody you know.
Aye, subscribe
Maybe
on
not your
YouTube.
grand.
That's we need subscribers
Yes,
on YouTube.
yes. I know people might go, that is pure Beggy Mitchell, but I don't
Nah.
care. We
Get a
need it.
Patreon.
But you know, we have got big, massive plans for next year. We've got massive plans for next year to kind of take us from
Shite to alright.
Shite to yes, I like
That's brilliant. I like that.
that here, Paul. Write that down. Somebody write that down. that is fantastic. Somebody said, "Dear Biddy, are we human or are we dancers?"
Oh, fuck off with them, man. Just
Do
weed
you
them
know?
out.
Do you know?
Weed
I
them
know.
out.
I did want to kind of weed these out. Oh, I tell you what, I'm going to go back to one we had the other week that we couldn't answer, and somebody asked about the subway.
Oh, they're shite. I hate them.
right.
When they're electric, they were shite. They were electric, but there was pools of water in amongst the subway and all that, so I didn't like it at all.
Have they not always been electric? No.
Aye, they
I've
have,
never
right.
seen MD
No,
throw
but he said
coal
the,
into
he said the
something.
new electric one. But there's fucking puddles of water in the lines and that.
I'm not trained up on
I'm not exactly sure the
rail.
the behind the railway structure and that, but surely fucking hundreds of water everywhere. Like I could wade about in it. It was about that deep. Doesn't spell good.
I think they were more intrigued about the design.
Oh, they're shite. I hate them.
Not
They're too small.
Sorry, I've
I'm
worded
fucking
that.
cooked up like that in them.
I've worded that quite right. Okay, I hope that answers the question for that listener. So thank you, dear Biddy. Since my question last week was not PG, here's a better one for you, bud. What is your golf handicap?
Oh, right. Well, we're not speaking about that, man. I've had a bad season.
Have you?
Aye, well, I've started the season basically tore all my tendons.
And that was
Strained
just getting out of bed.
And then obviously I've not played in a while, but had a bad season. Let's just say it's went up by 3 to where it was at the start of the season.
Up, like so. I'm not great with golf, so up as in a bad way.
Aye. So your
you want to
see
get
the
down.
lower your handicap, the better player you're. The higher it is, the worse player you're.
Right. Okay. Alan, do you play any sort of golf or anything?
I
like
hate
that?
golf with an absolute passion. Worst pastime in the world.
More of a cycling man, aren't we?
I love my cycling. I love my skiing. I love my triathlons. I love
Don't
my
mind
rugby.
skiing. I did skiing as a block at college once. It's quite a good block at college.
Aye, it's awesome. I did a month in the French Alps this winter because a certain Nicola Sturgeon wouldn't let me work. Fuck you. So I went out to the French Alps and skied
Get
in my
me on,
camper
man.
van for a month. It was awesome fun.
I've never done it. The closest thing I've got to skiing. You ever seen that South Park episode where it's like French fries and pizza slice? Is that real? Is that?
Aye, aye. See, so I didn't know that they called it French fries and pizza slice until my kids started skiing. Right, for us, it was snowplow when we were a kid, and then the first lesson that my kids got when they were 4 was French fries and pizza slice, and that just blew my mind how simple an idea. So whenever we're going somewhere down a hill and I want my wee man to speed up, I'll just shout out, "Chips, chips, chips," and he just boom, bombs it. Hit 92 kilometres an hour when we were in France earlier this year. I was well chuffed with the wee
See,
man.
when we learned on a dry slope, and then started learning on a dry slope.
Aye.
See the one in Bearsden?
Bearsden, aye.
Started learning on that, and then we went up to Escape and that, and then we went to, I can't remember where we went after that. We went somewhere like an actual proper, like,
A mountain.
natural one. I'm out now. But I was all right, man. I wasn't amazing at it. I tried to do a jump and just ended up tumbling about fucking 50 metres down a hill, but no, it was no bad. I quite like it. Although I didn't like when you're bombing it right down, you're going well fast and you're trying to slow your best to slow down. It's just not happening.
I'm quite glad it was a dry slope because that could have caused a serious.
I wasn't
avalanche
good
if
enough
you were
today, but
tumbling.
you know the guy when they slow down, just be turning their whole body, themselves.
That's me. I'm that guy.
I was maybe oh no, kind of guy, but
Good. Maybe we should do that. Maybe we should do it as a special next year. We should go skiing.
let's go skiing.
I will
Alan.
totally take you on a special. Yes. And we'll get some drinks for a chairlift and all that kind of stuff. Yes. Sign me up right now.
Would you be up for that, Paul? You'd need.
No.
He's shaking
I'll be the
his
cam-
head.
right, he's shaking his
You
head.
don't need to ski. You just need to hold the camera,
No,
man.
but the thing is, he's going to have to hold the camera to get you skiing. So I'll hold the camera whilst I'm skiing.
And you just see us
And follow you two. Like, I'll be like in front of you or behind you, and I can hold the camera and you two can ski. Aye, let's do that. That'll be great fun.
Why do I feel as if this is going to end up?
It's going to end up with your leg broken and my arm broken, but
Aye.
I'm all for it for the fans, all 3 of them.
I know we're going to get a nice weekend away to the RAH after that, aren't we?
Well, it's better than a weekend in the cells. No, I've never actually been in the cells.
Well,
to be fair.
if there's drink involved, we never know. The next one, again, people. Somebody said favourite movie, but cause this is a Christmas special, have you got a favourite Christmas movie?
The Grinch? I don't know. Maybe that's just a popular one. Remember that Santa Claus one? With that, what's his name?
Tim Allen.
Tim Allen. Quick, they're no bad.
I like that one. They're
bringing out a new one, haven't they?
It's a series sort of thing about him trying to hang up the mantle. I did like the ones when I was growing up. Used to be on the Disney Channel. If you were a Sky user, I believe it was 611.
I don't need to know the
I
channel.
believe it's just useless, pointless information, but it was still.
You got a favourite? Christmas movie?
Favourite Christmas movie? It was in my head just a moment ago. I was going to talk about. Right. I've got a favourite Christmas movie memory, which was last year. Myself and my partner sat down to show the kids Love Actually and completely forgot about that scene 5 minutes in.
Joanna Page
When
and
they're simulating blowjobs and things like that. Completely and utterly forgot about that. And the kids at the time were 11 and 6. And it was just like, in for a penny, in for a pound. This is what's going to happen later on in your life.
Yeah, so if MD's unfamiliar in that scene in Love Actually, I believe it's Martin Freeman who plays Bilbo Baggins in the Hobbit films, and Joanna Page who plays Stacey from Gavin and Stacey, and they're like, they're not like the real actors though, they're like there for positioning, aren't they? It's like so we can kind of get the shot for the camera, and it's like they're
Ross, why are you explaining this? Everyone's seen Love Actually 40 times.
I actually watched it last
why
week.
are you explaining it?
There is people out there that haven't seen these things, man,
And the likelihood of them watching this podcast or listening to this podcast is very slim because they probably live in the Gobi Desert or something like that, right?
I hope there's an absolute army of fans out there of this
To be
show
fair,
that
there's a
just-
guy from
who
Canada that keeps
hate-
commenting.
Yes, I wanted to talk to you about that. There was like your mum shared it on Facebook.
I've reached places even he's no reached for his comedy clubs yet.
You're right, aye.
Yeah, there was a guy from Canada and he said, keep it. So if you're watching, thank you very much, sir. That means a lot. Cheers. The next, Paul, sorry, have you got a favourite Christmas film, man?
Home Alone.
Home Alone. Safe bet. I'm not really that big on Home Alone. I find it kind of, I don't know, I struggle, in a film you kind of struggle to get into it. And it's, I know, like, I was about to say it's incredibly far-fetched, but here we are talking about Tim Allen becoming Santa Claus, right? But you get my meaning. The next one, Dear Biddy, this one blew my mind and I thought I'm going to need to ask it. Done acid with my best mate at college and I'm convinced we kissed. What should I do?
What should you do? Never speak about it, bury it.
Deny. It's actually the advice on that.
Deny. Double down, don't back down, double down.
No,
Never
I'm going to flip that, right? If you really like someone as a best mate, right, then you know you already get along personality-wise, right? And the acid's brought something out in you. Now, I don't know if best mate is the same gender and you like the same gender, or is a different gender and you like different genders, but you're already 2/3 of the way here. Speaking as a man who's been divorced twice, speaking as a man who's had 2 proposal KBs, right? And has understood, been through the therapy and has understood where he's fucked up, right? If you've got that best mate thing going on, right, then that's you. You're 9/10 of the way there to having a brilliant life partner. Fuck it. Go deep. Get in there, right?
I want to, take that advice on board and go, that's brilliant, but you're my best mate. And I don't think
If he comes anywhere near me now, I will drop him.
I don't think that's what we want. I don't think we could do that.
No, don't even look at me.
Don't get me wrong. There is a picture out there, where it was for a party, and the two of us were, and I mean steaming, and we're out in the smoking area. Do you know the picture I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about, mate. Don't bring it up, man.
And I've whipped my tap off, right? Because that's what I thought was a good idea at the time. And somebody's get the camera out or their phone out to take a picture, right? So I've sucked in, shoulders back, assumed the Triple H position, right? And you've come into the picture and started licking my nipple. I'm actually, Paul, see if I send you that, could we like put that on the screen? Enjoy.
Right, so, but you've done that without being on acid. Now imagine you've both been on acid, right? And imagine that opened up a whole new world for you, right? Doesn't say any question whether or not the caller, whatever, liked it or not, right?
No, they never mentioned
Right, they
any
never
emotional.
said that they liked it. They never said they didn't like it. I'm going to assume that they liked it. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been asking advice about it. So if they liked it, don't bury it. If they liked it, explore it.
Use it for wank material for your Christmas. I don't know. Batter in, do whatever takes your fancy.
Brilliant.
I don't know. Just there you go. Two coming at you hard for two sides of the spectrum there. Right, I think this might be the last. Oh, right, okay, I'll make it the second last one. It's the worst date you've ever been on. I don't know because I don't think you've been on one for about 5 years.
I've not been on an actual fucking dates. I mean, that means I just need to pick dates for when I was actually going out with somebody, and I'm not going to do that.
Did you ever have any shockers?
Not really, no.
Lana will argue that on her first date I made her split the bill, which I don't.
Fair. Absolutely fair.
Do you know what? I think it's actually. I think if they offer and you still want to pay for it, and you pay for it, that's fine. But see if they don't offer, I think that's a bit like. Do you get what I mean?
I get it, yeah. Well, yeah. So going on a date should be an even Stevens kind of thing, unless I've turned around and said to you, "Do you want to go to one Devonshire Gardens for the night?" Right? I wouldn't expect you to go halfers on that. But if it's going for a meal, going for brunch, going for drinks, then I would expect it to be round, right? Unless you're trying to impress.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Although when I went, I vaguely remember saying, right, I'll get it. And no, you know that always happens, right? It's the I'll get it. No, I'll get it, right? And then it goes back and forth for about 2 minutes. And after 2 minutes, I've gone, no, it's fine, I'll get it. I'll go, right, we'll just go Hoffers. I think because I said we'll just go Hoffers then and meet in the middle, that's what cost me the brownie points for that one. But here we are, 3 years later. So have you got any worst dates yourself, Alan, that you've been on and you think, oh dear, I'd like to bury that?
I have buried the worst ones. I don't think I've had a bad date in 18 years.
Really? Just
Fucking good record, man. He's going strong.
I've had a couple of bad relationships, completely my fault, right? But I don't reckon I've had a bad first date. I think I've had some good fun.
Good. There you go. That's how we do it. What about yourself, Paul? Any dates stick out in your mind that you go, wish I wasn't there for that one? Any spring into mind? I'm not saying. Oh, I can't wait to get this
Let's
off
flip it.
camera.
What's the best date you've been on?
Fuck.
The best date I've ever been on was with me, you, and Bobs.
What, three guys?
Aye, and we went and seen Infinity War, and then
back to back,
and then
man.
Endgame back to back. That is honestly one of the best nights of my life.
Mate date.
Right, wait a minute, but a date equals something romantic at the end, right? Okay, was that?
I felt emotional, man. I felt a connection between us all. I thought like this.
I was crying at one point.
Oh mate, it was an emotional roller coaster, definitely. I don't know. I've never been on any sort of dates.
So let's flip it back to the last question. You're on an emotional roller coaster with this guy who's your
don't do
best
it.
mate. You've just referred to having gone on a date with him, but you're saying that you wouldn't want to explore.
No chance. My ass is locked. You stay away.
Scared of the bird, not
You do know though that the next time he's having a wank, he's thinking of you.
Maybe he's thinking of you.
It's fine.
Maybe I'm thinking this 0% alcohol is going to my head. And I don't know. Swiftly moving on from that, the last one, dear buddy, it just says you should get a tattoo. You've not got any tattoos, have you?
I don't know. No, I was going to get a tattoo, but fuck, I don't know, man. I need to think about it. It's permanent.
Aye, you've got the build but for like a sleeve or something.
I was
like,
thinking about sleeve, but then you need to get something that you want. You can't just go in and bandage go, I'll just get that, and it's got no meaning, no nothing. You know, I need to have a think about it. Who knows? Maybe in the future.
Have you got any yourself, Alan?
No, and I'm exactly the same reason as him. I don't want to be 60, which is only 10 years away, and my skin all wrinkly and having a really shit faded tattoo from when I was 30 or 20. That was one main thing about me. I do Ironman triathlons, and what a lot of people who do their first triathlon is they get the M dot symbol on their calf to go, yeah, look at me, I was a big triathlete. I hate it. I think it is just pure horrible branding yourself with commercialism on your leg just to say that you've been able to swim, bike and run for 15 hours. No,
Flip it, but see if you're in the Olympics
I was just doing it.
and you won a medal or that, would you get one? But
You know, the Olympics have got the
Right, the rings. No, I don't.
No?
I look, I get that, but in my head, if I'd won a gold medal or I'd been at the Olympics, I'd always have in my head, I've got a gold medal.
You've got
I've been at the
medal,
Olympics.
aye.
Like, unless I'm 75 in a home, I've got Alzheimer's going, right? Oh yeah, I've been to the Olympics. Right, okay, right. That's,
See, to be fair, if you're growing like that, you're probably looking at it and going, "What the fuck have I got 5 rings for?" No, you wouldn't even know what it is. Do you know what I mean? I've got one, and it's an L on my upper ankle. There you go. That's what I've got. It was stick and poke, and it was horrendous. You must have some, Paul, surely.
oh, geez, he does.
Oh my god! So, is there any specific, like, see, when you get that done, do you have a thought process like, I want this to be meaningful? This
It's all bands that I love. It's all artwork for albums and stuff.
there you go. That's got to be, it's deep and meaningful. I like
Batman
that.
and
I don't know what I would get. I tell you what, if there's anybody listening who wants to get the Pie and Beans logo on them, I will fucking subsidise that quite happily. I would love that.
I will not stand for that, right?
I think if we that could be maybe one of your specials. We go and get that tattooed together.
I fucking not a chance am I getting that fucking logo tattooed on me.
Because I don't know,
I swear to fuck.
we'd end up falling out no long after it, and it would get like kiboshed on it, and we'd never do it again.
I'd rather get it waxed into my fucking chest or something than get it fucking tattooed on
We
me.
did something similar in Australia. The Scottish comedian Paul Perry, who lives down south, absolutely amazing. Hardly ever does Scotland these days because he lives down in southern England. But he was out in Oz with us, and I took him to a waxing place in Perth, and she did stripes like on him first of all, like, you know, the hacienda chevrons. She did them on him first of all, and he didn't know what was happening, and then it just looked like a zebra. But then she did the rest of it. But aye,
I think that could be in the cards for us next year. We charity wax or something.
Maybe.
I think
fucking
so.
need
They'll be there all day, man.
100 wax strips for you.
I know.
He's like a Turkish guy when you take your top off.
How very stereotypical. Yeah, I'm quite the hairy chap underneath here. I get it from my mum's side. So I do. Right, let's get wild into you, Alan. Talk to us about how the comedy cabaret came about. I want to know the backstory. You know, James English, take us back. Take us back
right.
to the
So
start,
I'd been promoting comedy gigs up and down the UK since the year 2000. So 22 years, coming on 23 years now. And it was 2017, and I'd actually given up promoting comedy in Scotland. I was focused purely on the 3 months a year that I do in Australia, and on the sporting events that I promote as well. Jonglers went into receivership liquidation, and Andy, who's my business partner, he used to work for me when he was 18, so like 15 years ago. And he was a show manager at Glasgow Jonglers, and he'd lost his weekend work as show manager at Jonglers, and he went, I want to open up a comedy club. And we kind of sat on it for a few months, and I was going, oh, do I, don't I, do I, don't I? And I decided that I didn't. And then my daughter and my ex-wife, she was my wife at the time, massive Strictly Come Dancing fans. I mean, like, massive Strictly Come Dancing fans. And in August of 2017, it got announced what the lineup was for Strictly that year. And in that lineup was Susan Calman. I used to like Susan Calman. I don't like Susan Calman anymore. And I haven't liked Susan Calman for a number of years. And I just sat there and I went, there is no fucking way I'm sitting in the house on a Saturday night while she's on my telly for 2 hours, because I knew that the girls would be watching it. And I just phoned Andy up and I went, do you still want to open a comedy club? He went, aye. I think I found the perfect space and the perfect reason. So Rotunda is where we opened up the club, and that was purely so that I got out of the house on a Saturday night and didn't have to watch Susan Calman on my telly. And from there, it's just grown and grown and grown.
Certainly has grown, and it's one of my favourite venues to play. Where did we go for the name change from Rotunda to the Comedy Cabaret?
So, Rotunda is a very Glasgow thing, right? Almost everyone in Glasgow knows the Rotundas. The two round brick buildings on either side of the Clyde, beside the Hydro, beside the Finnieston Cran. But that's not a name that we could use in other cities around the country. So we were using the Comedy Cabaret as our brand in Leeds and Bristol and Aberdeen and that. And during COVID, Rotunda changed into being Cranside, got the beer garden and all that kind of stuff, and we just liked the alliteration. And we were getting a lot of people who didn't know that we ran the gigs in the other cities. And so for for the nationwide market, and it just became the obvious thing to do is to slowly rebrand it. And Cranside Christmas Comedy Cabaret sounds brilliant when it rolls off your tongue. So that's why we kind of slowly went that way.
It's a very good night out. I actually went last week, the week before. I went for one of the Christmas shows just as a regular Joe Blogs off the street, and I walked away going, do you know what? That was fantastic. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was a great show. The acts were great. It was just all round fantastic.
But what was fantastic about it compared to going to the Stand or Glee? Right. So what was because it's different from just going to a comedy club, shall we say? Right. So what's different from a punter's point of view? What do we do?
I would personally, right, see for me walking in there, right, if I'm going somewhere like the Stand, I know it's a comedy club and that's fine, but when I go, I don't know, the Rotunda, it feels more, I don't know, it feels as if the energy can be is higher, no in the sense of humour or laughter, I just feel as if it's more kind of night out.
Bingo. People want entertained, right? When you go to the Stand, you walk in and you just see rules painted on the walls. Then you do this, then you do that. Shut up. You're not here to have fun. But with us, you go there and frankly, it's the best comedy club food in the whole of the United Kingdom. You know, the 4 restaurants that you can eat in or in the club itself. The food is fantastic. And people go in and they know that they're just the vibe, going up the stairs, hearing the music, then the ambience, everyone getting their food and all of that, and we just slowly crank it up towards the show, and we don't shout at you if you're talking. We don't want you to talk, but we police it in a very nice and specific way. We don't have a big burly bouncer like you used to do it, Jongleurs or Glee or whatever like that, who'll whip you out if you've been a bit of a dick. We deal with it in a nice, personal kind of way, but people know that they're going to get a full night. So they know they're going to get their dinner, they know they're going to get drinks, they know they're going to have a bloody good laugh, because I'm very particular about who I let on that stage. I don't let dross on that stage. And I know you get your hands up there, aye. But you know, you go to some comedy clubs and you'll see that there's, out of the 4 acts, 2 of the acts are alright and 2 of the acts are a bit mediocre, but I'd rather have a smaller pool of talent who regularly do the gig than have loads of people do the gig twice a year.
How do you go through the selection process for that? Is that you going to gigs and watching folk, or is that folk that you've worked with before?
So it's 22 years I've been in this business now. I've been running the Scottish Comedian of the Year competition for around about 15 of those years. So I've seen everyone work their way through. And each year when I do the Scottish Comedian of the Year, that's when I see who's the next level, who's the next level, who's the next level. And we'll give them a couple of tries to do the 10 spots or the 5 spots. You got to be really amazing to do the 20. It's the old Don Ward line from the Comedy Store. He is the guy who runs a Comedy Store, and he would turn around to an open spot and he would say, right, of the 4 professional acts on this bill tonight, who am I taking off to put you on? Right? Who are you better than who's on that lineup? So for Ross, for example, can he seriously sit there and go, Mark Nelson shouldn't have that spot, I should have that spot. Ray Bradshaw shouldn't have that spot, I should have that spot. For me, it's all about consistency more than anything else, right? If I've seen you be funny week in, week out for 6 months, a year, 5 years, you're more likely to get that spot than someone who's just hot off the blocks. However, that said, when you get a talent like Liam Farley or Paul McDaniels, or at the moment, Jenny Hart, oh my God, Jenny Hart went from doing a 10-minute open spot in March and she's now headlining my Christmas shows this weekend. I mean, that just shows in 9 months she's went from nothing, from literally shite to beyond all right. So progression is there so long as you've got the talent.
Certainly is. I remember my first weekend with yourself. It was a 5 spot, and it was March. This year, start of March this year. And I had a great weekend. I like that as well though, because you do give the opportunity to people to go, I will give you a 5 or a 10 spot on the weekend. Because it gives people a chance to gig on the weekend. Mm-hmm. That's a big thing the open spots don't really kind of go into, is like, And it kind of, that FOMO sort of comes into play where you're like, it's a Friday and a Saturday night, I want to be doing my thing, you know, and then you're not, and then you get the opportunity to go and do it, not just like in a pub, which is, I wouldn't knock it, but to do it in a club that's packed out.
See, that's the thing, right? This is the problem I have with so many open spots, right? They'll go out and they'll do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night gigs, and they'll go to a gig because they're getting 5 minutes or they're getting 10 minutes or whatever it is, but they only ever see other open spots, right? That's like going to football training with a bunch of cripples who play five-a-side, right? You're not going to learn anything from them apart from how to kick a ball once. But the way the open spots are going to learn is by going and seeing what the professionals do. And that's what I really loved about you and Sean, who you just got in touch and went, can we come down? And went, of course you can, right? We deliberately have a policy that all open spots, no matter who you are, you get in for free if you want to come to one of the Friday night or Saturday night shows, because we want you to learn. We want you to show us your enthusiasm for what's going on. So if you go into that room like you did the other night and you saw how Billy just grabbed this audience by the scruff of the neck and turned them into one big tribe who all loved each other. You saw then how Jay did her stuff, and then how Bradshaw came on and took what could have been a difficult room, but absolutely smashed it. And you learn all these lessons that you don't know you've learned, but you've seen people who've been going for 15 years, who've played the hydro, who've played some of the roughest gigs ever. You've seen them take it by the scruff of the neck and go and do really professional stuff. And the problem with a lot of open spots is they think they will only learn if they are doing, not if they are watching. And you actually learn more by watching the pros at a weekend gig than by doing a Tuesday night to 6 punters and 12 other open spots.
Totally agree with you. I think, personally for me, when I get into it at the start, I kind of come out the traps because I've been watching for long enough. And I don't think people do enough research. I don't think, see if you're going to do something, it's just, I think it's common sense, and a normal person would go, I'm going to research as much about this so I don't look out of place, so I don't look like a dick. Do you ever get, do you know what I mean? Like, see if, like, as stupid as it sounds, going to an event or going to a do, checking every day what we're all wearing, because I don't want to look the dick.
So harm the day.
Christmas special and commercialism, it's all for them, you know. But I think that's a big thing, is people don't do enough sort of sitting back, having a wee look, going, right, this is kind of how it should be.
Do you honestly think there's anyone in comedy who doesn't want to look the dick, right? Do you honestly think, like, if you're getting into comedy, you've got an ego. You've got an ego which says, I am funnier than the people that I am going to talk to, right? That genuinely is what right? You must have in your head, the moment you go on stage or want to go on stage, you're sitting there and you're going, I'm getting my 5 and 10 minutes because I am going to be the funniest person in the room for the next 5 or 10 minutes, and I'm going to build up to be funnier and funnier and funnier. So you've got this ego that needs scratch. So why the hell would you? Why the hell would you sit there and go, I don't want to look a dick? Because you already don't think you're going to be a dick, because you already think that you've got the ego to be what the spotlight should be on.
But if you can strip that back, I know what you're saying about the ego, and I know there is that out there, but if you can, and the way I try and look at it as I go, I watch, for the minute they get off their arse to walk to that stage, my eyes are on them. How do they walk? How are they interacting with the audience before they get there? Are they clapping the audience? Are they, what sort of mannerisms are they doing? How do they take the mic out? How do they hold the mic? What's the sort of first couple of things that they say? How do they ease into the set? How's their humour work? Where am I? And if somebody's telling a joke, I'm thinking, where's it going to go? How are they doing it? But I don't think people look far back enough. I think being a comedian, you've got to look from head to toe. Any bit you're doing, where is my hands? Where is my arms? Where is my legs? What body position I'm in? How's my face looking? All that sort of stuff. I don't think they put enough thought into it to go, this is how I can actually maximise this, because I hear a lot of them saying, sometimes you find it's just 1 or 2 words you need to change about and the joke's there. I'm like,
that's the whole thing.
I'm like, what? No, it doesn't matter, because I can go and do my normal 5 set and it'll never be verbatim the same. I know where the bits are, I know how I get to them, I know what I should say, but I don't ever have, for example, the sentences will never, ever, ever be the same in the run-up, or sometimes even the finish yet. I think there's a lot more in how am I delivering this and how am I looking when I'm doing it. Because especially in a comedy club, people do not appreciate, comedians especially at open spots don't appreciate how much this can do for you. Just by making a facial expression.
Absolutely right. So one of the biggest fears that a weekend comedian will get, or has rather, is the 10:30 in the morning phone call from the booker on a Saturday morning, right? If you've been to a club on a Friday night and the show report comes back and you get that 10:30 phone call, that is, you're on a warning here. You're either off the bill or you're getting told, boom, to up your game. So that happened to a comic that we both know quite well a couple of weeks ago, who went in on a Friday night, looked like a bag of washing, delivered their set like a bag of washing, died in their arse, but they shouldn't because they're a very, very good act. And they got that 10:30 in the morning phone call from me the next day, which was, right, I've got a decision to make here. Am I replacing you or are you doing something different? And the conversation started off with, how did last night go? And the reply back was, oh, it was all right, but no, it wasn't my best. And what I really hate is when you know that an act's died in their hole. It's when you ask that question, how was last night? And they go, it was really good. And that's when I know immediately, okay, I'm replacing you tonight, right? But with this person, you knew there was that hesitancy. You knew that they knew they'd fucked up. They didn't quite know why they'd fucked up. But I then talked them through what the show report said. I talked them through what I think of them in general and why I think that they can do better. And then it was, why do you think? And then I got the reasons. Their head wasn't in it. There was reasons that their head wasn't in it. But then it was a case of, well, do you know what? Everyone had paid 30 quid. You get your head in it tonight or else. And went out and smashed it that night because their head was in it. It was like the Alex Ferguson hairdryer effect. You know, at half time, it was, this isn't good enough. We want to win this. And that's fortunately what happened.
I think there is a lot of people tend to forget that, especially in clubs or at a weekend gig. It's all right doing your open spot gigs, man. That's in a pub, nobody's paid. You're actually invading their space. But I always try and keep that in mind, going, these people have paid money to forget about.
And they've not just paid money,
nonsense.
right? They've not just paid the ticket price. So they've not just paid the 17 quid to get in the club, plus the extra 13 quid for your dinner, so you're 30 quid to get in the club. They've also paid their taxi fare there, tenner. Their taxi fare home, another tenner. They've paid a babysitter. This is what a lot of people forget who are in the younger demographic. They forget that the 30-year-olds and the 40-year-olds, this is a once every 2 months, 3 months night out that they've either paid a babysitter 50, 60 quid to look after their wains, or they're cashing in brownie points with the granny or the grandpa or things like that, right? And then there's all the alcohol. So this is 150 night out for folk. If it's a couple, it's 250 quid night out, right? And you see someone turning up who's an open spot, like a bag of washing, and just no, it's no about you. You're here to do a job, right? It's about these people who are expecting to be entertained on that night. They've decided to take a gamble, to not sit in and watch Strictly, to not sit in and watch I'm a Celebrity, but to go and see live entertainment, and you've got to make sure that you honour that to them.
100%, and that's what we do every week in this podcast, Biddy boy, innit? We gave him 110%, big man.
Ross always asks me why I would never do comedy or why I don't try it. I think the reason is what you're saying. Is, see, when I watch these top guys, I know I'll know about that level, and I don't even want to try and entertain it, because what's the point in keeping people shite comedy and there's guys out there do it 10 times better?
You're quite lazy as well. You
No,
know,
well,
you do as much work as Shane McGowan's doing. There's a Christmas joke for you, have that.
See, when there's something I actually want to do, I'm no lazy, it'll get done. But that's me.
Because it's a passion.
I need to be grasped by it.
I'm starting to feel as if you don't want to do this then, based on that.
I just don't want to be here with him. But no.
I don't know. I think it's something, I know what you're saying, but I think it's something you've got to constantly strive to.
Don't get
so
me
I'm
wrong.
constantly, at the minute at the stage I'm at, I'm striving. Where am I striving? To break through.
To break through what?
To break through into more clubs, I think. Do you know what actually my targets are next year? To get the swing of everywhere else apart from Glasgow. So I'm going to try and get to Edinburgh a lot more, because I feel as if I struggle in there, and I'll be the first person to admit it. I feel as if I'm too West Coast, but there has been twinkles that shine through where I know the bit actually works. It's just perhaps a different wee setup. and things like that. It's working with it.
How many gigs a week do you do? Okay, how many gigs a month do you do? Okay, how many gigs a year do you do? Right, see if you're not able to turn around to me and say you're doing 5 gigs a week, then you're not working, you're not striving, you're not trying to become a professional comedian. You're a fucking hobbyist. And there's nothing worse than being a hobbyist and taking up stage time from people who are really actually trying to make a career out of it and to develop and to make themselves better. Now, you're going to sit there and go, yeah, but I can't afford to. I've got a job, I've got this, I've got that, I've got the next thing. Do you know what? See if you really, really wanted to improve. You'd be out there 5 nights a week. You'd be sacrificing relationships. You'd be sacrificing whatever other career you've got, and you'd be making a point of getting better. That's what all the others have done, right? I was on another podcast in this very room, and I mentioned Mark Nelson spent more weekend nights for years sleeping on a megabus coming back from London than he did in his own marital bed with his wife. That's the kind of sacrifices you need to put in if you want to get better. The fact that you're saying, I want to get better in Edinburgh, fuck right off, right? You want to get better everywhere. Not just Edinburgh. Not just out in this little bubble of Glasgow. No, but it's a sadly parochial example of what is wrong with the open spot comedians in Scotland just now. They only look at this tiny little bubble on the M8. They never go south. They never travel far, right? Look at the comics who are really successful at the moment and look at the sacrifices they've made, right? So, like, Susie McCabe, she's went over to Australia. Now, Susie, big woman with certain health problems, she had to fly business class to get out there because she's got a bad back, right? So she took not just time off from her day job as being a sparky, right? But she made the financial gamble of going out there at an expensive rate, not to make money in Oz, but to improve. 2 years she did that. And look at her now. She's just done a full month in the Hydro. Yep. Ray Bradshaw, similar. Mark Jennings, CMB, Roscoe, they all took a big gamble. They went to Australia for 3 months. They put their lives on hold. They put their relationships on hold. And look at them now. Jennings just about to sell out the King's Theatre. CMB got a really big project coming out that I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about or not. And Roscoe making a fucking fortune on that Twitch kind of thing.
Twitch, aye.
Right?
Twitch is...
So I said you to do that.
That's got a lot bigger, Twitch, in terms of...
I said for you to do that. I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying, making the financial gamble. It's getting the finances together first.
No.
Well, I can't do something if I've got nothing to start with. I go out and make it, and you try and go out and make it. That's what I'm saying to you. Like, I've got, right, so here's my world here, but I can't just turn around and go like that to everybody I owe money to. Fuck you, you're not getting it, because I'm going to go and take this gamble, which will pay off in 5 years, but for the next 4 years, I'm financially fucked.
So work doubly hard.
What I mean?
Think of it as 2 jobs.
Aye, so that's what I'm saying. You do as much as you possibly can, but it's getting that extra income. Where do I get it for? And I'm not going to start punting gear.
Comedy shouldn't be...
Because nobody's paying the tick. Or they look at me, I'm not going to knock fuck at you. Do you know what I mean?
So when you start out, comedy's not work, right? You finish your work at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, whenever it is, and then you've got that hour's drive, 2 hours drive, whatever it is, and that shouldn't feel like work to you, right? That should you be getting as excited as going to Celtic Park to watch a Champions League match, or going to Murrayfield to watch the rugby, or whatever it may be. I don't know, right? That's where you should be. That's where your headspace should be at. It should be your passion. You should want to go there. Now, trouble is, far too many open spots will go there and they'll go skull with beer, and then they'll wake up the next morning depressed because they've got a hangover, blah blah blah, and that's why it feels like hard work to them, because in order to, when they're at the gig, they treat it too much as socialising, right? But if you treat it as a job, you treat it as a passion, then it's not work.
Here's one for you. Say you gig 5 times a week or something like that, right? Do as much hours as what you do at your job. How am I going to get to 5 gigs a week? Because I can try and get that, but sometimes I can only get 3. Sometimes I can only get 1.
Right? You go out and you ask more and you ask more. More importantly, I'm more likely to give someone a gig if I know who they are rather than just getting a message from them. How do I know who they are? Because I've turned up at one of the gigs. They've made themselves known. They've ingratiated themselves to us. Better still, they've worked for us, right? The greatest example of this is a guy who did a gig off their own back at the M&S Arena on Friday night in front of 9,000 people. And way back in 2013, he came up to me in Edinburgh and went, "Can I work your door?" And he worked on the door for me at gigs in the Edinburgh Fringe, and it was either 2013 or 2014, around about then, because he wanted to be surrounded by comedy. He wanted to be surrounded by comedians. He wanted to learn, and he knew that earning £7 an hour for a couple of hours a day, he would expand his knowledge by seeing really good acts working in front of him, and he would get to know them, they would get to know him, and then he got more work and more work and more work. And then on Friday night, him and his partner, who have got the largest podcast in the UK, sold out an arena. So that's how you do it. Go and offer yourself up. See if a comedy club says, "We need door staff, we need bar staff." Go be there in the room. You'll learn more in the room there week after week after week than you will by driving to Brecon to do an open spot. Still drive to Brecon and do that open spot, but go and get your job in a comedy club.
What do you think, Biddy?
I think it's quite right, to be fair. Like, I can relate it to my work of just finishing my apprenticeship and that. Sometimes you do learn a lot more just by actually stoning and watching and taking in what the guy's doing than you go in there and fucking something up.
Aye.
And then you're stuck there for hours. No, because it's the same. You can relate it to that. You know taking in what guys are doing, then you go up on stage and bomb. It's the same as me at my work, going in and absolutely wrecking a fucking machine because I don't know what I'm meant to be doing. You need to build all this up for you to do that, and he's quite right. The best way to do that is to be there and networking, because networking is really, really fucking important in terms of knowing the people and being around the people, because sometimes that can pull you out a hole and get you places.
I mean, I admit I'm a difficult person to deal with, right? For years, there was people who just wouldn't deal with me because they'd heard from so-and-so, who'd heard from so-and-so, who'd heard from so-and-so that I was a cunt, right? And I'll admit, I have been one of the biggest cunts you will ever meet, right? But then these people have decided that they need to get gigs, so they will work with me, and then they've gone, actually, he's not that much of a cunt, right? He's actually a fairly decent person, right? And some people I will treat like absolute dog shit because they've not ingratiated themselves to me, or they can't bring anything to the table apart from negativity, right? Some people I will totally go out my way for, but when you hear reputations, you'll only know yourself through dealing with them yourself.
Would you say, would it be safe to say you've got a certain reputation? Do you quite?
Aye, and I will say that I actually specifically bred that over a number of years. It was a very definite reason for doing it. It didn't just happen.
What was the specific reason, Phil?
So, mainly it was towards the lower levels of the gene pool in the world of comedy, right? And the reason for that is, I would put up, I need someone to do 15 minutes paid, blah, blah, blah. And I'd get hundreds of people getting in touch going, geez a gig. And in the early days, I would give people who were not ready for that spot, but they had told me they were. And I went, that was, and I would give them very specific feedback about why they weren't good enough, why I wasn't going to progress them. And there's no point in me bullshitting about whether someone's good or someone's bad, right? There's nothing worse, I think, than someone going, "Oh, how was that?" And someone going, "That was nice," when it absolutely wasn't. And I would and I've done it with you, I've done it with Sean, I've done it with others. I'll quite go, see that bit there? Don't use it in my club ever again. That's not going to work. See that bit there? See if you tweak that and turn that around. See what you did? You're not ready for another year. Go out and do X, Y, and Z, and don't ask me for an open spot or paid work or anything for another 6 months or another year. Whereas there'll be other bookers, there'll be other clubs who'll just blank you, right? And you won't hear anything. But I want to get the best acts on stage. And I want people to improve to be the best that they can. And unless you get constructive criticism from people in the industry, you're not going to improve. If people keep telling you, well, that was good, when it wasn't, then you're just going to sit in your own wee bubble and you're not going to get better. Comedy has genres. Comedy clubs have genres. Because it works on a Tuesday night in front of a bunch of students who've paid £2 doesn't mean it's going to work on a Saturday night in front of a bunch of accountants who've paid £30.
Do you know, see when you're saying about that, I'll tell you the first feedback I ever got for the stand in terms of the Tuesday night. They said, not bad. And then they said, think it would work well on the weekends. However, Tuesday night crowds would be a bit different, so we'll come back and do another. You want to come back and do another
Tuesday night?
Tuesday night.
They have no clue. They literally have no clue at that club. And I find it absolutely hilarious.
The thing I just read from that was, so you basically said that you think my stuff would work on a weekend, which is why I'm here in the first place. But I can't get to that yet.
Without doing a Tuesday.
So you think, you think I'd probably out of all the people on the bill that night, I'm probably the only person that got that because I've got my ear to the flare. And I would say me and you are normal people. Normal working class guys. I would say that's fair to say.
That's what
Working class people, right? We get it.
Aye.
We're no like I see some other comics or students, and that's absolutely fine. Right? You write about what you know. You can't write about something you don't know about. To have your, I would say, your style implemented on it or whatever. When I'm doing it, it's things that have happened that I've exaggerated and whatever. But it's mine. If you know what I mean.
Aye. So what you basically said to us there is you've said that you're normal working class blokes, right? You are the main demographic. You are Jerry Cinnamon's audience.
We are
right?
scum.
That is what you're saying, right? But see, at the moment, what the comedy intelligentsia want us to believe is that your voice is not important, right? We want to hear the voice of the person who has X affliction, the person who has X gender, Y, whatever it may be, right? They're wanting all the diverse voices. And don't get me wrong, diverse voices, absolutely amazing. But you got to remember that the vast majority of the audiences in a weekend gig are Karen from accounts, who's 45 and is a pain in the arse, right? Or it's Ross who drives the buses, right? And is no the cleverest egg in the gene pool, right? That's what you're getting, right? We're not the Soho Theatre, London. We're not the Royal Ballet, Covent Garden, whatever it is. We're comedy. We are lowest common form denominator for in terms of entertainment. We don't need to have a specific talent in being able to do a pas de deux or being able to hit G sharp or whatever it may be. We talk pish for a living. People want to be entertained. People want to laugh. People don't want to be lectured to. That's what podcasts are for.
Do you think we're meant to be lecturing folk? The only thing I've been telling people for the past 8 months is that you've got a massive wang, man. I don't know, like what the fuck?
He has to slip it in at least one point in the podcast. It's every fucking week, but we'll let you away with it.
Yes,
so
it does
see,
like to slip it
I'm
in.
quite interested to find out how you managed to branch out to Australia in terms of your comedy, Cavalry.
That was dead simple. Australian wife wanted to move out there, so went out, set up a business out there. Turned out that the business lasted longer than the marriage. So I still go back and forth out to Australia, where I'm now the largest ticket seller at the Perth, Adelaide and Melbourne comedy festivals.
Maybe I'll go one time.
Maybe I'll go.
No,
one
well, actually,
time. Mate, you still
we're
want to come up here for Dumbarton, man.
No, well, we're meant to be going to Perth this next year to visit Boydie, who's obviously all there working. Me, Josh, Tory, and that. So we might actually take a swing by.
Do it mid-January to mid-February. That's the time to go.
Aye.
Well, I'll get you in touch tonight. And you can. That sounds good. I hope you enjoy your trip. Where's my invite?
You've just said you've not got the funds to trek.
Bang on. You've not got the funds to go to Edinburgh, but I always need door staff in Australia, so I can get you a visa if you're willing to come out for a month, and I'll give you some front of house work if you want.
There you go. You could stay with Boydie.
Imagine that, but bunk beds.
No, I think Boydie's got his own house there.
Alright, just because I wanted to get in the bunk beds, take acid and be you there, but whatever, doesn't matter. What was I going to say there? Talk to us about, right, dream lineup for Christmas this year, if you could have it, MD.
Oh, I've had it.
What did you have?
I've totally got it. I mean, it's like Billy Kirkwood's your compere. Boom, smash it out the park. Right, but Billy is just Mr. Enthusiasm. He's Mr. Saturday Night.
I like Billy. We had Billy on this. I like
Billy
and
Billy in a Scottish audience, just it's no stand up. It's entertainment. Right, it's Ant and Deck's Saturday Night Takeaway. That's your compere. That's your host. Boom, superb. Jay Lafferty. She just comes in and she gives the women's point of view, and the women all absolutely love her. The guys all sit and go, oh fuck, and piss themselves. Absolutely brilliant, fantastic, right? Ray Bradshaw, he's just the most professional, charismatic, hilarious guy. Put him in front of any audience and they absolutely warm to him. And then Liam Farley, just bring him out. Reigning Scottish Comedian of the Year. He just knocks it out the park. That's it. That's our lineup, and it's just you can't get more Glasgow at Christmas than that. That's just absolutely joyous.
There you go. So you can get your tickets now. Where can we get the tickets for the shows, Alan?
Well, I'm afraid you can't because we're sold out now for the rest of the year. That's been the great thing about it.
That's
Well, where do you get the tickets for future
Normally,
preference for guys?
thecomedycabaret.club. Not com.club, thecomedycabaret.club.
Excellent.
Club.
You mentioned Scottish Comedian of the Year there. I just want to briefly touch on that. What are you fucking laughing for?
You.
I'm loving this. This is this is when he goes like a Brazilian football team who think they're going to win the World Cup.
Aye.
Is this what happens here? Yeah.
What you talking?
This is when you go, right, how come I didn't win it?
No, I wasn't in it the first time I entered it. In fact, that's what I wanted to say. Right, so my 5th ever gig, right, was the Rotunda Gong Show. Backdoor entry into the Comedian of the Year final, right? That's what it was, and this was the first time I met her. Do you remember this?
It's my favourite gig.
Do you remember the first thing you ever said to me?
What? Tell me. Go on.
So what happened was, at those early stages, I still do it now, I will say to
Explain
the
what a
person,
gong show is.
Right, okay, so for anyone who doesn't know, a gong show is you'll have X amount of comedians who all have 5 minutes or each,
Maximum.
right? The maximum, right? So you've got to do 5 minutes, right? It's timed, right? Within the audience, 3 members of the audience will have red cards, right? Sometimes you get a 2-minute grace period, sometimes you don't. Once the grace period is over, should there be one, if the audience don't like you, those red card goes up, get 3 of them, you're off. They are I've done a few. Some are nicer than others. None more horrible than Alan's, right? Right? So to give you
But mine has got the biggest stake, right? Because if you win it, you get into the Scottish Comedian of the Year final, and you also get a cash prize. And you get a weekend's booking. So that's huge.
That's massive, aye.
There's a lot to gain from that.
And if you win Scottish Comedian of the Year, I take you to Australia.
To perform.
Right. So
this was my 5th ever gig, and it was just after I'd come back from London and doing King Gong, right, which is also a gong show.
I remember watching that show.
Yes, as equally horrific.
who's your compere there?
Tanya Muir,
Right.
and it was 3.5 minutes both nights. But the first thing I ever said to Alan was, I said to everybody, say thank you very much for having me. It's an honour and a privilege to be able to come and perform. To which he turned round and shouted in my face, "Fuck off, you brown-nosing cunt!"
Well,
and the shite went immediately right up my back. And I was rattled for the get-go. And done 3.5 minutes and biddied them farewell.
I remember that one. You walked half. You're like, fuck these.
The King Gong one. The King Gong. They get the humble get it up.
So that gig that you did, that first time that you'd met me, I had literally just got off a flight from Australia. The flight had touched down at 7:30 at Glasgow Airport. The gig started at 8 o'clock, and I'd been flying back, and I'd said to the stewardess, because I turned left on the plane, not right in the plane, I said, "Can I get an espresso martini 2 hours before touchdown, and then another one 1 hour before touchdown. So I was 2 espresso martinis to the good. I'd been awake for 24 hours.
It's a long flight.
It's a long flight, aye. And touchdown, car picked me up at Glasgow Airport, gets into the club, and I walked in, and Callum, the barman, was stood there with an espresso martini for me. So I was bouncing out my fucking nut because I was caffeined and whoa, and then I had another one on stage, and that was why I was in proper give us it mode.
It was 0 to 100 very quickly, high intensity, high aggression. What could you rhyme off some of the, I was trying to explain this to people, right, because people who have never done it, right, in other open spots, we kind of, I've said, like, the Rotunda Gong Show was, I couldn't put into words how you hosted that. It's very difficult for me to put into words. I was trying to remember some of the things you say. It was like, I think at one point you end off saying, I fucking hate every single one of these cunts. Not one of them better go through. I'm sure like that rolled off your tongue at once.
So basically, what I'm like a conduit between the audience and what's going on stage, and my job is kind of like the Joker kind of character in a medieval castle if there's a gladiatorial fight, right? It's to get the audience to want death, right? Because the best form of entertainment at that kind of thing is watching someone die horrifically. You don't want someone to do well at a gong show, right? You want to see comedians be put through the ringer. Like everybody slows down and stops and watches a car crash when it happens, right? When we're all on TikTok, we love those videos where you see a car driving along a motorway and you know something's going to happen and you wait and oh yes, and that's exactly what you want, because you do get at gong shows, you will get 3 or 4 folk who are good acts who deserve to get paid spots, who are going in there knowing that they can do it, but then you'll get another 20 who are absolute dog shit and they're hoping that they'll do
fucking
it.
Dog
right?
water, man.
But the thing is, in that 20, there'll be 1 or 2 who will just have some wee glimmer of genius, and they'll come out with something and the audience go, that's brilliant, right? And so it's purely we want to see people trip up and fall. But the rewards at the end, it's like Total Wipeout. We love watching Total Wipeout because you see folk drop in the water. We love watch Ninja Warrior because you can see the ones with the skill, but then also you see the ones who fall and drop in the water. So it's the same kind of premise.
I would urge as many open spots to do them as much as they possibly can, because it will put no thicker skin on you. That is the ultimate like sort of defence mechanism to grow up a wee bit and not really take to heart as much. Like, see, after playing 2 of them, see after that, see if I died Mars one night, not that I wouldn't care, I would go home and I wouldn't spend as much time crying about it. I would spend more time working at it as opposed to feeling sad about it, if you get what I mean.
So going back to what we talked about earlier on about my persona, it's actually why there's quite a large amount of people who don't like me, is because of things that I've said in character on stage about them. So like Billy Watson, for example, we took it so far that Billy Watson stormed the stage and tried to punch me and boot fuck out of me, right? And I was just like, oh, come on. It's like there was a comedian called Gus Toz who was a very good very good gag merchant, came from Aberdeen, came down to a gong show, and he was only just starting out, but he was good in Aberdeen. To put it into context, the next year he got top 3 in Scottish Comedian of the Year, and he was doing well professionally for a couple of years. Anyway, he came down from Aberdeen, so he drove 3.5 hours down to Glasgow to Maggie Mays at the time to do a gong show, and I was introduced him on stage. Went, this next act came all the way from Aberdeen, so we probably won't understand a word he's saying, so feel free to gong him off stage as soon as you want. Gus Toz, and he walked on stage. He went, "Foos doos, gong," and he went apoplectic that the audience had put the cards up and gonged him straight away. 7 hours out his life in a car to be able to go foos do, and he was raging, absolutely raging at us. But you know what? That was a gong show.
That's Twiggy Crumbles.
That's what they are. You mentioned the Scottish Comedian of the Year there. It's not happening this year though, is it?
No.
Tell us why. Because
Couldn't
it's
be
something
arsed.
that I was really looking forward to. It was something I was really looking forward to be able to kind of... Because by the time I started comedy, it was like the week later you'd put up Looking for the Gong Show, so it'd all kind of pass me by and I was right in the door. So this year I was like, right, okay, I'm in the door. I know, a wee bit about things I'd like to...
Right,
Give it a
dead
go.
simple. The simple answer is I couldn't get a venue this year to host the final because there's so many events which have rolled over from 2020, which have rolled over from 2021, which have rolled over from whatever, and every single decent venue is of the size required for it was already fully booked, and they are all fully booked until 2024. And the longer and longer I left it, the later and later it was getting, and life was getting so busy. All the stuff with all the Christmas party nights and all that, and the World Cup was the main driving force for me deciding, fuck it, I can't be asked, because Scottish Comedian of the Year final normally happens this time a year.
Yep.
In fact, it was yesterday last year when we had the last one, when Liam Farley won, and it got to around about September, and I didn't have a venue that wasn't on a night when there was probably going to be a big World Cup match.
Yep, tonight.
And I just went, fuck it, there's absolutely no point this year. So we'll do it early 2023 so that it's kind of like an 18-month kind of gap as opposed to...
Okay,
to
so
12.
you're going to do it...
Oh, it is going to continue. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it was just that this year, it just got too late. I procrastinated. I couldn't be arsed. And it was too late to get a winner to then take to Australia to get all the visas and all that kind of stuff done. And to be honest with you, what difference does 6 months make?
No mega.
No mega. You're absolutely right. So something might happen during Glasgow Comedy Festival. Watch this space.
Oh, right, quiz.
As long as nothing's on the Sunday the 19th, I've got a gig at it. But after that, fucking
do
do
the
it.
quiz, I think,
After or
we're
before,
coming up to
do whatever you
time.
like. Yes, shall we get on to the quiz? I'm really looking forward to this Christmas themed quiz. So Craig's going to leave us. He's going to go.
Right.
He's going to go empty his
Thanks
bladder.
very much, Craig.
Anyway, to be fair.
Yep, you can get in there.
Right, I'll play some music so I can't hear it.
Aye, play some Christmas songs or something. Try and get the whole vibe. I'm gutted you didn't wear the Grinch stuff, Alan. To be honest, I thought that would have been. Do you know what? I think this is going to be our annual thing for Christmas. We'll get you on, but you've got to come on in the full Grinch gear. I will pay a makeup artist to do the full booner, like the green face. I think that'd be fantastic. Although to be fair, you're into your fitness now, aren't you? So if you end up taking your top off, which I know you like the nudity.
What do you mean now?
What?
What do you mean I'm into my fitness now?
Well, I've only known you just literally a year, and when I first met you, I never really seen much about the fitness. I seen you having a go at fat people. I remember that. I remember seeing in the forum, what was it you said? It was something like...
Reduce your weight, reduce your risk. The whole reason that we had lockdown in 2020 is because fat people and old people were dying, and people like me weren't able to make a living because fat people with type 2 diabetes were more likely to die than anybody else. That's why I was having a go. They should all have just been locked up and, left to the side. What's happened? They're still dying. They've had an extra 2 years. Oh, bless. But look at all these poor kids who've got strep A now because fat people were allowed to live an extra 2 years. Don't get me fucking started.
As a fat person with incoming type 2 diabetes,
Well, get rid of it.
What?
Get rid of it.
No, I like it. I lose half my material. I'm winding you up for fuck, right? Paul, shall we? Have got 30 seconds on the clock. Give us a shout.
3, 2, 1, go.
Question 1. How many reindeer does Santa have, including Rudolph?
8.
Question 2. In what year was Band-Aid? Do they know it's Christmas time was released?
1984.
Question 3. If you're naughty,
82.
what is Santa leaving in your stocking?
Not here. Mince pie. Don't know.
Question 4. Finish the lyric. It's the season, love and understanding.
Simply having a wonderful Christmas time.
Question 5. The Christmas film titled Miracle on X Street takes place on which numbered street?
Miracle on 34th Street.
Okay.
I nearly said Elm Street there.
Right.
That would have been a film.
That's pretty cool. Shall we summon? I don't know if you can. Oh Biddy dear, darling.
He's having a shite.
The viewers at home won't be able to hear that, but we just heard a massive flush there. followed by another one.
Hope you wash your hands, big man. Obviously.
I love the conviction in that. Hope we've watched it obviously off. See, to be fair, where you come from, you probably don't need to.
I was choking for that pish.
Did you? Were you needing a
Yeah,
pee?
you got a wee bit actually in your jeans there. You
Always happens,
a wee
mate.
bit of
Always-
splashback.
Wee bit, it's the same as still game now when Eric's talking. It's shake, and then a big burst of piss comes from anywhere.
It's cause he's well hung, you see.
Right, how did we do?
Well, we'll do the questions to you now, and we will then go through them. Okie
I'm not a
dokie.
Christmas fanatic. I'm going to bomb here.
3, 2, 1, go.
Question 1: how many reindeer does Santa have, including Rudolph?
8.
Question 2: in what year was Band-Aid Do They Know It's Christmas Time released?
Fucking 1987. I don't know.
Question 3: if you're naughty, what is Santa leaving in your stocking?
Oh, cool.
Question 4: finish the lyric. It's the season, love and understanding.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Question 5: the Christmas film titled Miracle on X Street takes place on which numbered street? Miracle on what street?
Miracle.
Number.
Fucking.
Oh, what, man?
It's a draw.
Is it right? Let's go through them. Let's go through them. Right. So, question 1: how many reindeer does Santa have, including Rudolph?
Is it Elm Street? No, that's fucking.
I said Elm Street.
That's Freddy Krueger, isn't it?
I went to see that first. I
What
went,
is it?
no, it's
Miracle
no.
on what street?
Right. We'll get
We'll get
to it. We'll get to it. Right. So, question 1: including Rudolph is 9, 8 without.
Oh.
Do you know what?
Right.
I was thinking 8, but then I was going to say, is it including Rudolph? And then you said including Rudolph. And
See, I gave the same answer.
So that's nothing each. Question 2: in what year was Band-Aid Do They Know It's Christmas Time released? Alan got it right. It was 1984.
Yes.
Was it?
Question 3: if you're naughty, what is Santa leaving in your stocking? You don't sure you said mince pie. It's coal. It's 1 each. Question 4: finish the lyric. It's the season, love and understanding. You said
Simply
something
having
like,
a wonderful Christmas time.
it's Merry Christmas, everyone. It's 2-1 to the Bidmeister General.
No, because you sang it to Biddy, you did not sing it to Alan. So I think that's cheating.
Paul, fuck
Well,
up. I love it. I
well.
lose every one of these.
Well,
He's clearly going to have got the next one right. So
well,
2 each.
well. Right, okay, I hear what you're saying, and we're learning every day, Craig. We learn every day, we learn every episode. The final question: a Christmas film titled Miracle on which street? Right, it was 34th Street. Alan got it. That's 2 each. That's a
Imagine if
tie.
it was Elm Street though, because that's Freddy Krueger. Right, okay.
Fucking fucked up Christmas. Some Wayne's get, instead of getting their presents, he's been slashed to bits.
Well, it's Freddie Krueger. He'd probably have had his way with him as well. Right, so we've got a bonus question, a tiebreaker question. Now, I'm going to give you both a minute to have a think about this, right? Now, I'm going to have a think.
A minute. I hope you pause the podcast for a minute then.
It's not that. I'm just going to think how I'm going to do this. I am going to get. Do both of you have a phone signal right now?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm wanting you to text me this answer, right? Because I've not got a pen and paper.
God, right, okay.
Okay.
Right, hold on. I'm going to have to take it off airplane mode because I was professional.
Ross,
And
I
now
don't even get your number, mate. I do have your number. I'm taking the piss.
I don't have your number. I'm going to have to
Just
like
Facebook me.
Facebook message you
Facebook's
this,
fine.
right? So,
So, or
Ross Daly.
if it's hard for Wannies, if Wannies can do it, it's fine. So the question is, obviously, Band-Aid was released in 1984 with a target set of £70,000 by Bob Geldof. It was released on the 3rd of December. The song entered the UK singles charts at number 1, staying there for 5 weeks.
You do realise we've got
Within a year, how much did it raise?
Right.
Closest wins. So they set a target of £70,000.
done. That's not including Live Aid. That's just
Oh,
Band Aid.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, I've turned my airplane mode on so I can never send. I'll text you. I'm definitely going to be way off, man. I don't know these things. Boss, I need to remember it was 1984. I think I've shot way over.
Okay. You've sent me.
I've sent you.
Holy fuck. So, Alan, you've got 121 million. Is that 121 million?
121 million.
And you confirm that answer.
121 mil.
And Craig's put in 10 million. According to my Google search, 5 minutes before entering the studio, it raised £8 million.
Is that all?
It was 1984.
Mary,
Vamos! Messi! I can't believe you have fallen and been slayed.
Get out.
I can't believe this. Oh my! But normally that wouldn't entertain a prize. However, since it being Christmas, let's get wired right into Santa's sack here. So,
Bob Geldof went, give us your fucking money on live telly, and all it got was 8 million.
Craig, would you like to present our guest, Mr. Anderson, with his very own Pine Beans t-shirt? please, if you don't mind.
There you go.
Oh, thank you very much.
No problem at all, sir.
Here, I've got a stone here if you want me to sign for
We'll
this.
get a wee picture of that when we wrap up. Now,
Oh, that's nice of you. Got me a medium. Thanks
yes,
very much.
that's what you asked for.
Oh, I did. I didn't
Yeah.
know. Right, cheers. Ah.
So, as well as that, because it's Christmas and we're feeling Christmassy, buddy, get your mic around your gob. So, I don't think it would be just, and it wouldn't be Christmas, if we didn't give the most important part of this show a wee present.
Paul's getting a present.
Paul is getting a
Paul.
present because Paul makes all of our dreams come true, and without him, we would be nowhere, and we're eternally grateful. So, Craig, would you please present the one and only Rebel City Paul Shields with his very own pine beanstalk?
Yay!
We got you long sleeved as well because
I've never seen you wear a short
we've
sleeve
never
before.
seen you wear short sleeve ever, so we got you short sleeve. And Craig, I actually got you something. If you want to sit down and get your mic.
It's pie and beans pants.
So, obviously, we know that you might not be sharing your gifts this year with someone special, right? A bit of a lone wolf. But the plus side to that is you get to go out and you get to be a bit of a boy, right?
Beans pants.
And you might get to wake up in the morning with somebody special, right? It could be the start of something special, but prior to waking up, we know what you would be doing, and we need you. I need you every week, and I need you to be safe. So I got you your very own Christmas Johnny. It might be a bit ticked. Okay, but I reckon that's no bad. So there you go. You can have that.
I can make it work. I can work with this.
I'm sure you could.
The least you could have done was put a flashlight in it.
Yeah, I suppose.
It's all right. We've got
But
them in
I
abundance.
think after this we're going to take acid, so you'll no need it. Right. Anyway, so
Hey!
yes, the callback of all callbacks.
I'll do.
Fantastic. I love it. I love it. I suppose that'll wrap us up. So thank you, Craig, for joining us. Alan, thank you very much for coming
Thank you
on.
very much. Thoroughly enjoyed that.
Excellent. I'm glad you did. And
Remember-
Paul, as usual, thank you.
ComedyCabaret.club if you need any tickets.
Cabaret.club.
Fuck up.
So that's us. I just want to say thank you very much for this year's support. All your likes, shares, subscribes, everything. It is massively appreciated. We're going to come back next year with a lot more, a lot different. So we hope you'll join us for that. So all that's left to say is thank you very much again, and Merry Christmas to you, or Happy Holidays indeed to you and your family, and all the
Or
best.
Happy
in the week.
Hanukkah. Who knows? We'll know Kanye West.
Yep, I covered that with holidays, but
Eid
yeah,
Mubarak when it comes.
the what?
There you go.
Eid Mubarak when it comes.
Correct. But take care and all the best for the new year. Thank you very much, folks. See you later.
Scotch pine or canoe. Scotch pine or canoe. There's nothing that I wouldn't do to get some time alone with you. Some beans and sauce there on the side. All the things I ate tonight. Mix them in my belly right till I'm gasping for a shine.
Craig, that's your pie and beans ready.